we're going to see Helmut Marko in Las Vegas, but not in F1. He's going to be there gambling. I mean, he has quite the eye. He can spot value before others. And he's a gambler. Why? Because that's his nature. That's his nature. I mean, think about it. His career, long career in F1. I mean, he was a driver, and he had an unfortunate incident. Then he became a team owner. In the 90s, he was in Formula 3000, and this is key because he was the team owner. It was only him. It was only instinct that drove a lot of the decisions, and that's when his eye for talent and his nature as a gambler came alive. His first great bet was Juan Pablo Montoya in 1997. And what a handful. What a handful was Juan Pablo Montoya for Helmut Marko. South American mindset, Colombian mindset, great, outrageous talent. But Montoya had things that weren't perceived as discipline in the eyes of Helmut Marko. So, but anyway, Helmut Marko had spotted the talent and decided to take a gamble on Juan Pablo Montoya. Why did he do that? Because that's his nature. Then years come by, and he gets together with Red Bull. Now he has a system. Now he has a structure. And most importantly, he's got money. His first bet, great, fantastic bet, was Sebastian Vettel. 4-time champ, domination, internal competition. It was a success. This validated his bet, right? And think about it. Who is Helmut Marko? Helmut Marko is not a team principal. He's not an engineer. He's just an advisor. But what he truly is, he is a filter. He's truly what he is. He's a filter. He gets to the funnel. Everybody goes through him. Helmut Marko didn't create any talent. He didn't discover any talent. What he was able to do was spot it before everybody else and bet. Why? Because he's a gambler. Why? Because that's his nature. So that on Helmut Marko. So he gambles, but from the time Red Bull started until 2019, he will think almost like a little bit like a portfolio manager where he had resources and he will diversify. But after Multi 21, what that did is set a precedent. And they thought maybe we should just focus on one driver, on Sebastian at the time. Well, they thought about it at the time, but then more so years later, especially in 2019, when Red Bull and Helmut Marko decide to go all in for Max Verstappen. At this point, this is a casino. This is no longer like a strategy, a sound strategy from an asset perspective, where we have assets and we can diversify and empower, from a managerial perspective, from a competitive perspective. You want to have two strong teams, two strong ones. But when they decided not to do that, optimize, right? It's like if you have $100 and you invest in one stock, and that stock, that's sort of what happened. But that cannot be sustainable, because eventually, everything is cyclical, and it will have their downturns, and that's where diversification comes in. You eliminate, as you add assets in a portfolio, you eliminate risk, and after certain numbers of addition, the marginal gains are just minimum. So as a structure, how do we manage assets? How did Red Bull manage their own assets, their structure? How did they manage their resources and allocate them? Well, after 2019, they centralized everything to Max, all in. The gamble, all in. We're all in, and it paid off. But now this is the downturn, and you're not diversified. You're not diversified, and how do we know you're not diversified? Albon, Gasly, Checo. Checo was your best one. But Checo was like, we'll invest in Checo, and then as soon as he starts making money, if he was a financial asset, we'll take money out. We'll sell some of those shares and put them back into Max. Unsustainable. Helmut Marko said that if Mercedes wants to win, they need to do what he did in 2022 and 2023, especially 2023 after 4 races. He said, sacrifice the Mexican. And that sounds wrong, but that's what happened. But anyway, we're talking about Helmut Marko, and he has, again, a great eye for talent. I'm not dissing Mr. Marko. We're talking positive, but we're stating the facts. If the truth is uncomfortable, I'm very sorry, but, we're trying to stay as close as we possibly can to the facts and to the truth, and we're seeing things as a structure, right? And it went from a portfolio, managerial, business, an entity, to a casino, all in for Max. And now the casino is done. It has to go back to a sound portfolio strategy. They have great. The legacy of Helmut Marko will be the drivers that he picked last. We're talking about Arvid Lindblad. We're talking about Soloff. We're talking about Isaac Hadjar. I think Max paid so many dividends as expected. I think even beyond what was expected. That betting in one asset paid off. But as we know, this is cyclical. In the downturn, you don't have another one to offset it. So that's the price they took those decisions in 2025 to compete, and thank you very much. You gave us a great season. But everybody else was focused on 2026. McLaren was like, all right, I'm comfortable. On to 2026. And we know how it played out. It played out for McLaren, and it didn't quite pay out for Red Bull because they didn't win the championship, and 2026 was neglected. And I think we can see that that's what happened. So let's collect the whole thought process. We have Mr. Helmut Marko, great eye for talent, and he left certain legacy. The system and the structure still there. So now they get to make a decision. How they're going to do it. What's the strategy? You're going to think like a casino, or you're going to think like a portfolio sound manager. The best run entities in sports are those who are run with passion, where the value is preserved, but then we think structure and business and more scientific how things work, how we allocate our resources. We're great stewards of what we have. And a good example, Real Madrid. Florentino Perez, first of all, he loves the game, feels it. That's the core. That's the value. The love for the game. He has an eye too. That's the core, Florentino Perez. But then what makes him a killer is that he is a businessman. He is smart. He is clever. He understands value. He understands value, and he has passion. So, Red Bull, Let's do it, baby. What are you going to do? Casino, Real Madrid. Up to you.